Hey guys, Immersed here. Welcome to a Protection Paladin tutorial video. This is a request video. Thank you very much for your request. Alright, so I'm basically just going to be showing you guys how I play my Paladin in dungeons, in PvE, and just going to go over my spells and tell you situations you can use them in, and then basically telling you my quote-unquote rotation. So let's get started by seeing what seal I use. I use Seal of Truth, and what this will do is it will apply a dot to your main target that deals holy damage and stacks up to 5 times, doing more damage as it progresses up to 5. Another one you could do is Seal of the Righteous for AoE pulls. I just sit in Seal of Truth. I don't really seal switch a lot, but you can do it just because it hits every single target in a 8-yard radius from you for 6% of your weapon damage as holy damage. So that, if you're having problems holding AoE aggro, you can definitely do that. And even Seal of Insight at level 80, I was farming for items and stuff, and it required me to do a lot of at level 85 it required me to do a lot of AoE pulling. I just threw this on, and like if I was at half health, I pulled like 15 to 20 mobs, I think. One Hammer the Righteous, boom, full health. So if you are dropping, you can go into here to help your healer out if you have full aggro. But for aggro's sake, I do this one for AoE if you're having trouble with AoE only. But I would definitely just sit in Seal of Truth just because you'll hold aggro better on your main target, especially if you mark one for Skull for main kill. So that's my thought on this, on the seals. Rebuke is your interrupt. Now, I would say interrupt any spell you can. My disclaimer on that though would be if you know a more powerful spell is coming, like if there's a spell that only hits you for 2,000 damage, and there's a spell that's coming that hits you for 50,000 damage, and they're both interruptible, obviously wait for the 50,000 damage and just, basically face tank the 2,000 damage. Always think before you interrupt, but use it whenever you need to, and when you need to is when you're getting hit with that really big damage that you can interrupt. If you cannot interrupt that, just interrupt anything you can. I do have the Sacred Shield talent, and as you can see right here, I've Pursuit of Justice, which just makes me move quicker and move faster every time I gain a charge of Holy Power. Repentance is a CC. Sacred Shield just absorbs some damage. Clemency, I can use Hand of Freedom, Hand of Protection, Hand of Sacrifice, and Hand of Salvation twice before the cooldown starts. And Divine Purpose, your next Holy Power ability will consume no Holy Power and will cast as if 3 Holy Power were consumed. That just, abilities that cost Holy Power have a 25% chance to proc that. And since we're here, I'll just show you guys my glyphs. I have Alabaster Shield. Your successful blocks increase the damage of your next Shield of the Righteous by 20%, stacking up to 3 times. The physical damage reduction caused by Hammer of the Righteous now lasts 50% longer. And your Word of Glory can now also be used on enemies causing holy damage approximately equal to the amount it would have healed. Just in case, like one of my ranged DPS pulls, I could just quickly do Hand of Reckoning to taunt it and do that just to get some damage up on it. And Wing Vengeance, your Avenging Wrath depicts 4 wings. Your Paladin class now glows a holy light, and mounting one of your Paladin class mounts automatically cast Blessing of Kings on you. So having said that, let's just go right back to what we were doing. Sacred Shield, just to avoid some damage. It doesn't absorb a whole lot, but 6,713 could save you. It just all depends how hard you're getting hit and how much you could dodge and block all the damage coming in. Repentance, just because having a CC as a tank is absolutely amazing. Prop Pallies have never had that before, and I love using CC, especially in, like, for example, Stone Core. If you're CCing the guys that turn into the big elemental, and if you ask for CC and your DPS aren't doing it, well, now you don't even need to ask. You can just do it yourself. Word of Glory is very good to heal yourself if Divine... what's it called again? Sorry. Divine Purpose procs. If you just have that free one, you're going down a little too quick, you throw a heal up on yourself. Or you could just use another Shield of the Righteous or Word of Glory to damage the enemy. So that's really good. Blinding Light is our 87 talent. Emits a dazzling light in all directions, blinding enemies within 10 yards, causing them to wander disoriented for 6 seconds. So that looks like that. And that's really good if like you have 4 spellcasters in your group that you're basically trying to get down and they all go to cast a big spell. You could just use that to just mess up their spell. Hand of Freedom if you're being slowed or if your teammates are being slowed. Salvation for those high DPS party members. Sacrifice if there's a stage in any dungeon where you and, or like a raid, you and an off-tank need to take damage, and you're overgeared and the off-tank is undergeared, you could throw this up on them, so transferring 30% of the damage that target will take to you. Hand of Protection if one of your DPS is just going down way too quick through melee circumstances, so if someone's melee attacking them, this does not stop spells. Use that on them. So like if your warrior has aggro on like 5 people because he just reckless blade stormed, throw this up on him. He won't be able to attack, but he's not going to die. Alright, so Shield of the Righteous is our main defensive ability, and why I say that is because it reduces the physical damage you take by 48%, does damage, and basically increases the strength of your Word of Glory on yourself by 28%, stacking up to 5 times, so that's very good. Hammer of the Righteous is our AoE aggro ability. We basically do 20% weapon damage across everybody in an 8-yard radius. So that is extremely good, and it gives us Weakened Blows, which demoralizes the target, reducing their physical damage dealt by 10%. So anytime you do an AoE pull, get your Consecration up as they're running towards you, hammer up. Once everyone is basically around you, use your Holy Wrath, and then just keep those 3 abilities on cooldown. Avenger's Shield, use when, like if there's like a mage, a warrior class, a rogue class, and a Death Knight class, for example, in PvE like in a dungeon, cast it on the mage class, because the warrior, rogue, and Death Knight don't matter because they're not going to try and spellcast on you. Use this on spellcasters when you're pulling in dungeons, just so you can silence them and they can also take the AoE damage from your Hammer, Consecration, and Holy Wrath. Holy Wrath, keep on cooldown, it just helps you hold AoE aggro. It's very, very effective. Hand of Reckoning, if you're about to lose aggro, even though the game says if you taunt a target that you already have aggro on, it doesn't do anything, I completely disagree, because this actually puts a buff up on the target you're attacking to attack you for the next 3 seconds. So unless somebody literally taunts off of you, you're not going to lose that aggro. So if you're about to lose aggro, taunt them and build your aggro back up very, very quickly. Crusader Strike is your single target attack. I usually just switch between Hammer of the Righteous and Crusader Strike, especially to keep Weakened Blows up from Hammer of the Righteous. This is just your boss attack. Like if there's only 1 target left, just switch to Crusader from Hammer. Hammer of the Wrath, very simple, just use it when you can, basically. Anytime this flashes up, just basically use it. Judgment, keep on cooldown. It also generates a charge of Holy Power. And a 85 Paladin could have 5 charges of Holy Power, so that's very good. Avenging Wrath, I actually might even change my glyphs around, to be honest. I might get this one. While Avenging Wrath is active, you are healed for 1% of your maximum health every 2 seconds. And that lasts for like 20 seconds, so that's a lot of healing just from 1 spell. If you're finding you're taking way too much physical damage, you can get this. Reduce the magical damage reduction of your Divine Protection by 20%, but adds 20% physical damage reduction, so that's very, very good. Sorry, I completely misread that. So right now, Divine Protection, what it'll do is it reduces magic damage taken by 40. With this glyph, magic damage taken and physical damage taken will be reduced by 20. So I just have magic damage because in my experience with running the dungeons I've run so far, they do a lot of magic damage. So if you cast this and this at the same time, you'd be good. Alright, so Avenging Wrath, just use when you need to do a lot more damage. I basically use it on bosses, big AoE pulls, stuff like that. Okay, Hammer of Justice, never, ever, 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 never, never, ever underestimate this spell. You can shut a high damage class down for 6 seconds. And I'm talking about, like, there's one there's one caster class that I'm going to be bringing out a video on. I did, what dungeon was that? I did Pen Monastery, and there's one area where you need to pull these groups, and there's one caster that just does wicked amounts of damage, and you could shut it down for 6 seconds, and basically 6 seconds is its lifespan. You know, basically depending on if you mark it for sculling or DPS know what they're doing. So, you know, it's a really, really good spell. Never ever underestimate the spell. Use it when you're taking too much damage from one class even. Like one target, if he's just completely wrecking you, use this. It's awesome. Alright, I always have Blessing of Might up just because our mastery is so important. We can take a look at that now. Increase the damage reduction of your Shield of the Righteous by 18%, adds 18% to your Bastion of Glory, and increase your chance to block melee attacks by 18%. So I absolutely love mastery on every single class on this game. So I always, any chance I get, I always get mastery. Kings, let the druids worry about that. Just keep might up as a protection paladin. If you missed an Avenger Shield and you're going to take a lot of range damage soon, a lot of magic damage, use your Divine Protection when necessary. If there's an AoE magic damage, use your Devotion Aura. Or if there's a silence stage, like if there's a stage in a fight or a certain mob interrupts your healer, you can use that also. Just pop this, and especially during heavy healing stages, make sure your healer does not get interrupted because it'll be really, really bad for you guys. Guardian of Ancient Kings. The Guardian of Ancient Kings reduces damage taken by 50%. This is all sources of damage. Use this when absolutely necessary. Even though it is on a pretty short cooldown, 3 minutes is my borderline, you know, that's where I say it's short or not. 5 minutes is way too long for Ret. I think that should be bumped down to 3. But use it when you're taking way too much damage, or use it when you know you're going to be taking a lot of damage, just to, you know, 12 seconds is a long time. Alright, Ardent Defender. Reduce damage taken by 20 for 10 seconds. While it's active, attack that would otherwise kill you would instead bring you to 15% of your maximum health. Now, I actually use this when I just need 20% damage. Like, I don't use this when I'm about to die. I use it whenever I need it, really. And it works well for me. Righteous Fury, there's really nothing to say. It just increases your threat regeneration. So, always have that up. And Flash of... I do want to point something out for... Like, if your healer goes down or something, let me find it right here. Supplication. For 8 seconds after you kill an enemy that yields experience or honor, your next flash of light will be a critical. So, I would say have it on your bar. Like, I never, before patch 5.0.4, I never had heals on my bar, because, I mean, A, I had an amazing healer, and I trusted her, and B, I just never really needed them. But now that classes are kind of mushed together, like a Holy Pally, like, you know, that used to be a Ret talent, but I know a lot of Holy Pallies got it. So now that every Paladin has it, it's really, really good to have Flash of Light on your bar just in case you need it. Cleanse, again, just in case you need it. Divine Shield for when you need a Bubble Hearth. No, I'm joking, You can actually create a macro where you cast Divine Shield, and then if you hit that button again, you get rid of it. I use that as like a second trinket. And for example, like there's one fight, and again the monastery, where like I could blow my racial, like the boss stuns you, so it disorients you and does a lot of damage. So I'll use my racial, I'll trinket out of that, and then again I would use my Divine Shield and again click it again, and I wouldn't get all that damage because it acts almost like a second trinket because I become immune to everything, and then right after I cancel it. So that's really, really good. Lay on Hands is an amazing spell. Use it to help your healers out. Use it if your DPS is going down, your healers are going down, more importantly. Res, speaks for itself. I don't really need to explain that. Alright, so my rotation would consist of, I use Avenger Shield to pull, hitting all the casters I can. I then use Consecration, so when they run in, they're taking immediate holy damage from me. As soon as as soon as a few people around, I'll use Hammer the Righteous. Once I have everyone around me, I'll use Holy Wrath, and then I'll just keep clicking Consecration, Avenger Shield on the casters, Hammer of the Righteous, and Holy Wrath, and just keeping my judgment. Just keep using my judgment. So I think that's it. Use Mastery as your... Like, Mastery is our best friend. It's awesome. So, like, if I was going to, like, raid, it tells me right here, because I haven't been to the Reforger in a long time, it tells me to put everything into Mastery. So, I'll probably do that before I run the dungeon. But, Mastery is our best friend. It's... Prop Pallies need Mastery. And if you don't like Mastery, you know, Mastery is awesome on any class. So, I hope this helped. If it did, be sure to leave a comment underneath letting me know if you guys need to know anything else, or if I missed something, or, you know, just shoot a quick question to me. You know, don't hesitate at all. I hope this helped you guys. I hope you learned something. I hope it helped you in your tanking adventures. If it did, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It would greatly, greatly, greatly help me. Thank you guys very much, and as always, happy hunting.